All right, today we're diving into a project that's sitting right at this weird, fascinating intersection of viral meme culture and, believe it or not, charitable giving. It's called GENAImpact. And really, the big question we're trying to unpack here is this a genuine look at the future of philanthropy, or is it just another crypto crazy that's going to flash and burn out? Let's get into it. Now, if you hear about a new crypto project, and your first thought is something like, oh boy, here we go again, you are definitely not alone. I mean, look at this quote. The really wild part, this actually comes from the project's own founder. They're putting that skepticism right out there from the jump. Basically saying, yeah, we know there's a huge trust problem in crypto. And they claim that's exactly what they're here to fix.
So that leads us to the big question, right? They call themselves GENAImpact, and they're making this huge claim that they're more than just hype. But what does that even mean? What is it really? Let's unpack their whole argument and see what supposedly makes them so different.
And this really lays out the core difference they're trying to hammer home. You know, on one side, you've got your typical meme coin. It starts as a joke, it's all for laughs, and there's no real point to it, no underlying utility. But then on the other side, you have what GENAImpact claims to be a meme coin with a purpose. The whole idea, they say, is social impact. Okay, so here's the official definition, straight from their own paperwork. GENAImpact, or GENA, that's its ticker, is pitched as a micro-donation token. Now, the key words you gotta pay attention to here are enjoyable, transparent, and effective. The whole concept is to take this huge idea of philanthropy and shrink it down, right? Make it into these smaller, bite-sized, community-level actions that pretty much anyone can be a part of. Okay, so that covers the what of it. But the million-dollar question is how, right? I mean, how does a simple donation magically turn into a crypto token? One that could actually go up in value? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and break down how this is all supposed to work. So the process itself is designed to feel, super simple, almost like you're just buying something online. You visit the website, you make your donation, and then you receive something in return. But it's that third step where everything changes, because you're not just getting a digital thank you card. Nope, you're getting actual crypto tokens. And that's the exact moment where charity and investment start to blur together.
All right, and this brings us to the real core of the idea, the part that really tries to fuse these two totally different worlds, charity and crypto speculation. The project has a name for it, the win-win formula, and it's all about trying to line up your financial interests as a donor with the goals of the charity itself. So let's just walk through the example they give us. Let's say you decide, okay, I'm in. You donate $100 to the fund. Simple enough. That's your starting contribution. Now, at their pre-launch price, which is set at just 1 cent per token, that $100 donation gets you exactly 10,000 GENA tokens. Okay, so far, so good. It's a pretty straightforward exchange. And here's the win part of that win-win formula. The project's goal is to launch the token at 3 cents. So if, and that's a big if they hit that target price, your 10,000 tokens are suddenly worth $300. So the hook is, you did something good, you supported a cause, and your donation could potentially triple in value. But of course, we have to put a giant asterisk next to that if. Like any crypto out there, the value is totally unpredictable. It could just as easily go to zero. So if you wanted to boil this whole thing down to a single, simple idea, this is it. It's their core sales pitch. GENA is basically GoFundMe plus a meme coin. You take the crowdfunding for good causes that everyone knows from GoFundMe, and you inject it with that crazy viral, community-powered energy that makes meme coins explode. So when you kind of zoom out and look at the big picture, all these little pieces come together to form their grand vision. First, it's a GoFundMe that could actually pay you back. Second, that money isn't just floating around. It's meant for real-world programs, stuff like feeding drives and scholarships. Third, there's a very specific focus on empowering builders and creators, especially in Asia. And finally, holding this whole thing together is that classic promise of crypto, total transparency. Every single transaction gets recorded on the blockchain for the whole world to see. And that brings us to a really deliberate, really important part of their strategy. Because if you read their documents, you'll see they put a huge emphasis on one specific region. So the question is, why Asia? Why does it matter so much to what GENAImpact is trying to do? Well, one huge reason is simply talent. I mean, check this out. According to a report from Electric Capital back in 2023, the number of open source crypto developers in both Southeast and South Asia literally doubled in just 2 years. That's a massive, rapidly growing pool of skilled people that a project like this would want to tap into and support. But it's not just about the tech. The strategy goes deeper. It's cultural. They're specifically targeting regions that have these incredibly deep-rooted traditions of giving. You've got the concept of dawn, or charity, in India. You've got bayanihan, this amazing community spirit, in the Philippines. So the thinking is, they're not trying to invent a new habit. They're just building a new, modern platform for a behavior that's already there.
And the final piece of this whole strategic puzzle, it's user adoption. And the numbers here are, well, they're pretty staggering. According to 2023 data from Chainalysis, you have countries like Vietnam and the Philippines ranking in the top 3 globally for crypto adoption. And then you have India, which has the #1 most users in the entire world. To put it simply, their target audience isn't just receptive, they're already there. They're already using this stuff. All right, so let's try to pull all these different threads together. What do we have? We have a financial model that actually rewards people for donating. We have a big vision for transparent, blockchain-based charity. And we have a laser focus on a part of the world that is both super into crypto and has a deep culture of giving. All of which brings us right back to where we started. Is this really a new model for how we do charity?
Look, at the end of the day, a project like GENAImpact is a really fascinating experiment. It's mashing up the viral, chaotic energy of meme culture with some very real financial incentives, all under the banner of doing good in the world. And it leaves us with this one really provocative question. Can you truly take the wild, speculative, sometimes crazy energy of crypto and harness it to build a genuinely new, transparent, and sustainable way to do charity? Or does the promise of a financial return always, inevitably, overshadow the pure desire to help? That is the high-stakes gamble that projects like this are making.